President George Manneh, President of the Republic of Liberia.
Thank you. We will all please have our seats.
His Excellency Ambassador George Manneh, President of the Republic of Liberia, Professor Dawo Asusoni, Minister of Education and the Ministry of Education and Family here present, the Honorable Minister of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Minister of Ministry of State and Presidential Affairs, other ministers here present, our partners from the general community, our chiefs and elders, our development superintendent,
Senator Dallas Bond, Chair on Education, and other members of the legislature here present, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Dean of the Cabinet, and other members of the Cabinet present, Superintendent and County officials, our developmental partners, members of the educational family, members of the Fourth Estate here present. It is my honor at this time to bring to this podium the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency George Manneh, who will come and make a brief statement as we are standing.
Educators of Liberia, representatives of our international education partners, various stakeholders here present, students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here today in Kakata, Mangili County, to open the 2018 National Education Summit under the theme Prioritizing Education. Why should we care? It is interesting that this education summit is being held on the campus of the Booker Washington Institute, our BWI, as it is commonly known. As we are all aware, BWI, one of the Liberia's most vulnerable and respected educational establishment, was named after Booker T. Washington, an African-American leader an educator who lived in the late 18th and early 19th century, and who worked tirelessly for the betterment of his people through education, especially vocational education. Booker Washington once said, and I quote, "Education is not a thing apart from life, not the system, nor the philosophy. It is direct teaching how to live and how to work." The words of this quotation could not be more relevant today, as you have come to Calcutta to brainstorm and seek solution to Liberia's educational challenges. In your deliberations, you will have to ask yourselves some tough and hard questions. Are you gathered here today to hold intellectual discourses on Liberia's educational system or the philosophy of DNA? Or are you going to try to review your approach and develop a new national curriculum that will directly teach our youth how to live in this new world of technology and innovation, and that will help them to develop marketable skill set that can be lead to a gainful employment and make them more productive citizens of the new Liberia? What should be the role of education in Liberia for march to prosperity? Are our young people getting the education that they need to compete at the highest level with other students in our global society? Are our educators professionally trained to meet these challenges and deliver quality as well as quantity? Who will train the trainer? And finally, are our educational infrastructures up to standard and equipped for our students' march to prosperity? As president, these are questions that trouble me constantly. Education has helped to make me who I am today. No matter how talented I may have been in sports, I would not be where I am today without a good education. I can speak from direct personal experience about what it is like not to have an education and what the difference it makes to be educated. As Nelson Mandela once observed, education is a great engine of personal development. It is through education that a daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of the man, that the child of farm workers can become the president of a great nation. We must give every child and every youth of this nation the same chance, the same opportunity to realize their maximum potential so that they can contribute their quota to the building of a new Liberia, prosperous and strong. In my humble opinion, this is the answer to the question I asked in the team, prioritizing education, why should we care? Let me just explain a little bit of what got me here today. I am a living example of a child that was deprived, but once given a chance to be educated, I got my full potential in order. Remember, we have people in Liberia that have no opportunity. All they look for is opportunity to change their lives. I left here for Cameroon. I was given an opportunity. Today I'm here standing before you as the President of the Republic of Liberia. But to our students, when opportunity is given you, you have to make sure that you work hard to achieve what you want to achieve. I remember in 2005, my first debate. I sat with two giants, Ambassador Winston Tubman and Ambassador Nat Barnes. Just being a 12th grade student, debating with those giants. I realized that I needed to change my life. And the only way was to go back to the classroom. Because I wanted to be like them, expressing the needs of our country. But I thought that I was not to the task. So we have to be honest with ourselves if we want to change. If you know that the only way you can make it in life is to go to a classroom to learn something, then you must do it. Don't be ashamed. I remember when I get ready to go to school, my kids are also going to school. And my daughter teacher said to me, take out the class. When we come back, and you'll be going to the evening class. I told her, I'm inspired by a lady. She turned 85 and she had her first degree in the United States of America. If an 85-year-old woman can have her first degree, then what about me? So I went to the high school with people that I can born. And those kids are joking, hey paps. But I was there with them. When I came out of that class, got my high school certificate, and then I enrolled in a university, DeVry University. But the high school prepared me to go to college. Today, I am here just giving a piece of advice to those that when opportunities afforded you, you have to use it to the best of your ability. We came from different parents. Some people's parents are rich, some that can afford, some are struggling parents. And sometimes it's not your fault when you don't go to school, simply because no one cares. So this is the time that we care. So as students, you will also be encouraged to allow us to help you to succeed. If I were running for responsibility, I would not be here today. I know so many people criticize, oh, you did not go to school. But Criticism also makes you strong. If you cannot accept criticism, you will not advance yourself. It's better for them to criticize you, for you to know, than for them to praise you while you are spoiling yourself. Because of the criticism, I am encouraged to sit down in classroom. And all our young students, nobody knows everything. And today, the Natbans, the Winston Tubman, can sit with me today and ask for advice. When I saw Natban in the coalition, and I was the leader, when we making our plans, he was also learning from me. So education is important for all of us. And let us make sure that our young children in Liberia, we are not yet to reinvent the wheel. But where we are, we must start now. We just came from the summit. The time for talking is over. It's time for action. Honorable Minister, I know you are capable. This is why we give you responsibility. Do your best. We know we have a problem. Young people must be encouraged to go to school, and the schools must be decent for them to be there. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, now I declare the summit open.
That was His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Liberia, George Manneh Weah. We are now about to listen to the Minister of Education, the one who has the mantle of authority to lead the ministry. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome to the podium Professor Dao Ansu Soni, Senior Minister of Education, Republic of Liberia.
The responsibility for the development of any nation rests primarily with its citizens. Being true to country is therefore the foundation for nationalistic leaders. Leaders whose purpose is to excite the population to rise up for positive change. Leaders who have the passion to serve and who by their own actions and pronouncement encourage the population to take ownership of their country. The raising of the Lone Star to nationhood in the 1800s, awakened the spirit of hope for freedom for all of Africa, the then dark continent. The star still risen speaks volume to the bravery of the small country and the small population of a big heart. That rising star, having the audacity to declare independence in the face of colonial dominance, was indeed a heroic action. Whatever the motive then, yet it was heroic indeed, regardless of whose interest it was intended to serve. An independent Liberia then meant that the colonial chains would have someday been broken across Africa, and that the dark continent would gain its own status, allowing colonies to become nations and nations become regional powers and institutions, while the voices of the downtrodden yearning for freedom and self-determination would have been heard across the world. The rising Lone Star in the 1800s was therefore a call to order, a call to nationalism, patriotism, freedom, and self-determination, even in the absence of arsenals of weaponry and a substantive military to defend the fatherland against aggression. Yet, with empty hands hands and a grateful heart, the Lone Star was hoisted in a mountain, standing tall among nations, surviving 2 world wars, and counted with founding nations of the League of Nations, the United Nations, the African Union, the ECOWAS, the Maoriba Union. With that noble history, Liberia, once first of equals, a nation of wealth, stricken by poverty, is struggling to rise again and be an envy of Africa, as it were in the 1800s. Mr. President, Your Excellency, you yourself rose from the ranks of the downtrodden and to the position of fame, from the place of poverty to the platform of wealth. And by virtue of your personal determination and commitment to the cause, you have become one of Africa's pride and a symbol of the best. By these accomplishments of a simple individual, we believe that Liberia shall once again rise under his humble leadership, and that the lost fame of the Lone Star shall be restored. Oh, that the Lone Star will rise again to the place of fame, as it were, when none other could have stood at the time. The sounding of Liberia's historic song pronounces the dawning of a new day for the people. A new day where forward march to victory on every front of a development battle posing threat to our nation shall be overcome. Forward march in building capacities of its people to take charge of their own country and run away with it. A forward march for the development of creating a people-centered platform that even posterity will be reluctant to amend until fully realized. A platform where all Liberians will find a place to stand, however small, and contribute their bits as we jealously guide our nation into the unknown, but with the relative predictability. Victory is certain, God being on our side. Liberia, a free land of liberty, is our heritage. Let it be known that freedom comes with cost. Therefore, the desire for freedom comes with the conscious expectation of such costs and related sacrifices. The quest for freedom and the self-determination is usually in response to the spirit of nationalism. Nationalism was preceded by the word sovereignty, a fundamental Greek word that first time used in medieval time in reference to unquestioned loyalty and infallibility of kings and emperors whose decisions were final. With time, the sovereignty of kings and emperors began to gradually fade away, giving rise to nationalism, power to the people, and the creation of nation states. Then and only then, the sovereignty became collective, supporting the ideas of nationalism. Nationalism is the binding tie of a people, driven by commonality of interest, culture, identity, and purpose, taking charge of themselves and matters affecting their well-being. It was a desire for freedom and self-determination that this land, named Liberia, celebrated July 26, 1847, and began independence day, 100 plus years ago. But in spite of that declaration, and all of the rights and privileges appertaining thereto, Liberia remains substantially the same, wallowing in poverty. For this reason, history has distributed blame for lost opportunities, and rightly so. But if blames were solutions, this country would have sufficient blame to develop the highways and sophisticated platforms. So then, blame should be laid to rest. Since this is not the case, it makes all the sense to take charge of what is left and consciously move on, avoiding the mistakes that were made in the past. With the spirit of collectivity, we, the people, small and great, rich and poor, strong and weak, should be cognizant of the lessons provided by our long history, avoiding the painful events and building upon the good of it all. We must muster the courage to rebrand our nationality, rebrand our progressive identity, rise above the common jealousies, and fight for each other with a united front, as I commonly hear, all for one one for all, not left behind. We must mentally rebrand our attitudes and mindsets. Mentally rebrand ourselves against the vices of society, the culture of impunity and individualism, corruption, dishonesty, and foul play, such as playing smart and stealing vehicles in the name of purchase. We must restructure our understanding of nationalism, patriotism, freedom, and sovereignty. And while pledging commitment to these standards of national concern, we must govern ourselves as such. It is no surprise that our president, His Excellency George Manneh Weah, with his pro-poor, people-driven agenda, identify education as the priority of his government next political role for the first 6 years, so that the training of the new generation with nationalistic spirits takes true effect, and the unbranding of the old ones, where possible, begin in earnest. Given the limited resources of the Liberian government, it is a privilege for the education sector to be favored in this way and by this president. This preference is no mistake, absolutely, because no nation has ever developed without developing its people first. However, the action of the president to place education on the front burner brings to bear tremendous pressure on all participants and stakeholders of the sector, public and private providers alike. We shall therefore never attempt to reinvent the wheels unnecessarily, because the luxury of time is not on our side. As we resoundingly hear voices of the people, there is no time to wait. And the people can no longer wait. Now is the action time. In spite of the rush, those things that must be changed notwithstanding, by all means, shall be changed. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, the people must be transformed. There must be transformative actions and plans to change lives and begin to create a middle class in a reasonable time. We must take the challenge as a team nation. Together, we must win the battles against ignorance and poverty and underdevelopment and self-pity, recognizing that this team nation has lost nearly all of the battles before, insofar as development is concerned. Now is the time to win, and to win we must. I urge every agency of this pro-poor government to pursue excellence and honesty and commitment, even while we make allowances for honest errors. Ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with this. Our ideas of education take too narrow and too low a range. There is a need of a broader scope and higher aim. True education means more than the perusal of certain courses of study. It means more than the preparation for life that is now. True education has to do with the whole being and with the whole period of the existence of the man. It is the harmonious development of the physical, the mental, and the spiritual powers. True education prepares the student for the joy of service here now, and for the joy of the Father's service in the world to come. To represent the Lone Star, the movement abroad, all Liberians must. We must be the Liberian that we want to see, not someone else. The Liberian that we envisage, the Liberian that we envy for, that we have searched for. We must be one. And my one plus your one, the little Liberia that we desire. Ladies and gentlemen, the battle cry of Liberia, the hero song, goes this way. The Lone Star, forever. The Lone Star, forever. I say, O long may it flow over land and over sea. Deserted? No, never. Upon it? Yes, forever. Oh, shout for the Lone Star Band. Okay. Thank you very much.
Distinguished platform guests, partners. Well, I just want to say a big thank you to the Minister for organizing this conference. When I saw the gathering, I saw the configuration of the invited guests, I just believe this is the right first step. I've come actually to give my input as an educator, a lifelong educator, a passionate educator, and a system that I believe in to just motivate you to derive innovative ideas that will improve this sector that is, I don't know how to describe it. Should I say dead? But it needs resurrection, it needs resuscitation. And no one else can do it, but I think when I saw Besa presenting the visions, I'm just over the moon because this is clearly what this country needs. Minister, I will go a step further. I'm recommending to the President of this country for the establishment of an Education Reform Commission that will go a step further into finding a holistic solution to this problem. 15 years is too long for us to continue to give an excuse that we are just coming out of war. 15 years is enough for us to be grounded, for us to have identified our problems, and at this time supposed to be delving into solutions. 15 years is too long for us to be trying to find solutions at this hour. It's unacceptable. The Liberian people are getting impatient. And please mark this. One of the greatest weak points, one of the vices of our society is impatience. Liberians are known to be impatient people. But we have toyed with this idea too long. And I think now we can do something. With the configuration that I see at the Ministry of Education, with the presentation that I see, I believe we can do something. And not just doing something, not just finding cosmetic solutions, but we can find holistic solution to our problem. When I take a look at the Ministry of Education, when I take a look at our school, our students, I'm bewildered when our students are underperforming in national assessment, university placement exam, because the curriculum is made in Liberia. The syllabus is made in Liberia. The lessons are made in Liberia. The tests are made in Liberia. Then why are our students continue to fail in these placement exam and assessment or national assessment exam? Then there is a problem. When you see or when you read our children posting on social media, every day there is an academic casualty. Every day there's an accident with the right placement of words, with spelling, simple spelling words. But do you blame the student? And my answer is no. You blame the system. The system is responsible. You do not just blame the system, but then go back down to the classroom and see who are the teachers, who are the education providers. I stand to be corrected, my statistics may not be right, but over 50% of teachers in our classroom are not teachers. They are educated people, but they are not teachers. The comparison is, it's like you are taking your wife to an educated man in a village to have her deliver of a child. The expectation must be either the mother does not come back alive or that child does not come back alive. And that's how we are treating our education system. Thousands of the teachers in our classroom are educated people, but they are not teachers. They have not learned the rudiment, the art of teaching, the pedagogy, how to. So, as long as we continue to toy with this idea, we're going to have this problem that we are having in our sector. And I'm glad for the vision to license our teachers. How in this world would somebody be providing education service to our society, our children, and these people are not licensed? We have not tested, we have not evaluated them to ensure that these people are the right kind of people that are supposed to be playing with our children. We need to do something about this. As I take my seat and take my exit, one key area that I need for this conference to look at, I'm sorry I won't be here because I have some international engagement, is to look at the environment, the school environment. Currently, as it sits, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. The classroom is supposed to provide psychosocial support to our children, but it is not. There's no, in our own term, girl-friendly bathroom. The environment is not conducive for my children, and then it must not be conducive for your children. We have to go to the bottom of this, and so we are not just looking for quantity. That we got plenty of schools in Monrovia, we got plenty of schools in Liberia, but then look at the quality of our schools, then look at the quality of our environment. This is absolutely necessary if we are to produce the next generations of leaders that will take our challenges head on. Having said this, I want to say thank you for all of our partners that have come. We have a big problem on our foot. The budget that is submitted to the National Legislature, I think, is there only to service salaries and personnel costs. Little is there for programs and activities of the Ministry of Education that will clean out the mess. We do not have it. And we need to go a little bit further than where we are going. If countries in Africa under the UNICEF program have committed 25% of their national budget towards education, why can't Liberia? The only thing we need in this country is a political will that we always lack. And we just need to muster the courage, we just muster the guts. That now is the time that we have to go closer to that. Minister, let me just assure you that I am going to work with you together with my colleague from the House of Representatives to ensure that even if we don't reach that 25%, let us be able to reach something closer to 20%. If we do not prioritize our priorities, we will continue to be blaming people. And the best person to blame if this problem is not solved is us Liberians. No one can do it for us. We are able to do it, and we need your help. But I believe that together with what we see here, it is able, we are able to do it, and we are able to deliver, and we are able to arrive. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Or go back to principles. That's where you have principles. We have to the two principles that are master's degree. We have 300, is it 300 or 104? 304. Is it 304?
Yes.
304 that are bachelor degree, 279 that are B certificate, 1,400 are C certificate, and 430 or 410, whatever it is high school graduate. I'm talking about principals. Alright? So if you have high school graduate who is a principal, you just need to tell me what school that is. Then you go down to the teachers. Look at the teacher's profile. 102 are master's degree across the whole art. And you have 785 that are bachelor degree. The next one is what? I'm not looking at CD, but somebody doesn't help me with that number. Next one is the retirement list, and we need to see how to retire these people. Now, in particular, the teachers' work, the 926 who are teachers, we need to see. Look at that structure. We have total number of schools, public schools now, 2,000 some number, I don't see that number clearly. Then the total number of students, that's 742,000. Of that 742,000, we got 7,249 teachers. Let's take the ratio. Let's take the ratio. Look and see how many students per teacher. 158 students per teacher in primary. 126 students per teacher in the other level. Just you look at this statistics going down. Look at the ratio of teacher to school. In some schools, you got none. Principals are teaching. So, when we took the total average of the total number of teachers compared with the total number of schools, you got something like 1.4, 2.9, and that lot. How do you expect, what education do you expect with that kind of numbers? Go to the next category. The next category, we are saying that on the average, there should be 50 students per teacher across the arts. The idea should be around 40-45. But we cannot afford 40-45. So we took it up to 50. When you take it up to 50, you need 14,000 teachers to accommodate the 742,000 students. We are not talking about incremental population. We're talking about as is 2016. This number has even increased. So the differential between this 14,000 and what we have now is 7,500. Those we must source, we must stream, we must certificate and put them in the classroom. But because we cannot do all of that in 1 year, we have programmed to do it over a 3-year period. Next slide. Next slide. This slide. WAEC result. Just look at these WAEC results. The total number of students, for example, that took biology. Let me leave biology. Go down to history. At least history is what everybody would think that everybody would perform on. If they say we don't have good math teacher, we don't have good, I will understand. Go to history. So the 7,800 students took the history exam. 20 of them passed in division 3 to 6. Now when they say division, what we normally hear division 3. Division 3 really means 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. In the other regions, in the other countries in our region, when you have in division 7 and 8, you do not go to college. No college setting. You have to find some other way to go to school. For us, we take up to 8. Because if we were to decide that we will not take any student in that category, look at the number of students that we have for all of the universities. Let's go. You mean 20 students pass history? That's the abomination. 20 students. Now, 17,478 students, that's conditional pass. Those are the people who don't go to college. Now, who's responsible for this? I don't want to go to the sciences, but go to the sciences. Go to geography, for example. They can't read map. They don't know even where Liberia is. Who is teaching them so? What is it that we are teaching? For 27,000 students to sit geography test and only one person who passed, one person who make a pass, that's a shame. I hope nobody from other country here. If you hear me, they didn't hear me. That's a shame. Who is teaching these folks? What are they teaching them? I have been in university setting for very long, and I know the students that will pick up from high school. This is not to suggest that some students are not trying. The students who are trying, the majority of them have parental backing, and they have to get additional teachers and materials for them. But the majority of the folks, that's the result. Now this includes the best schools, the bad schools, take it together. Next slide. The next slide, WAEC result 2016. I don't want to repeat WAEC result. Go back to 2017 WAEC result. 2017 WAEC result. I just took, in actual effect, these are the numbers of people who pass. 196 pass in biology, 293 pass in chemistry, 141 pass in economics. Just go down the list. And again, 50 pass in literature. Can you imagine this? So what we are saying, in fact, who is doing the teaching? Are they really there? Is there a vice principal for instruction who is inspecting a lesson plan? Is there a vice principal for instruction who is sitting in the classroom from time to time on a rotational basis to see whether or not the teachers are even there in the first place? Much to say what they are teaching. Where are the TEOs? What inspection are they conducting? How high the level is the monitoring mechanism? Where are those who are charged with the responsibility to ensure that teachers are in the classroom at the time they should be in, and the kids are not going home at 10 o'clock after recess? That's a shame. There has to be a way to change this. This is why we've called you. The next slide is talking now about what we have envisaged, what we intend to do, and because of resource limitation, we are programming ourselves for 10 years. When the thematic group sit, we like for the thematic group to discuss the priorities. And when we come back to general session, we will determine together which things we shall do first, which things we shall do second. But it is clear that we cannot do all of them. At the same time, my approach, not my approach, my team's approach at the Ministry of Education is to take one or two items and do them to completion. No piloting. We do 2 here this time and roll it out. No roll out, I don't know that language. If we take it, for example, the development of schools and creating the environment that make learning conducive, we should do that to completion. And then we go to the next one. Thank you very much. I will call Mr. Beza to see you some of the other things that we have decided to do. Thank you very much.
Priorities have been identified against problems we will receive. 7 and 8, but now to bring most of them between Division 1 to 6 in WAS. To be able to guarantee job readiness skills, the system inclusion of a 3-tier curriculum system at the secondary level. To establish 3 regional STEM institutions status, that's already ongoing thanks to support from the EU. Professionalized teaching and school leadership through certification licensing to enhance accountability, that's within the education law, and we want to make sure that happens. Enforce the education law on the requirement for the classification. 7 primary targets of SDG 4, Education 2030. And establish the National Education Development Fund to support all of the initiatives. These are our targets. Going forward.
And the rest of us. Let me also go back to the basic. We will keep the only A, B, and C are valid. D, E, and F are not valid. However, if we meet you in F, we give you a time frame to graduate from F. If we give you that time frame and you cannot graduate from F, then we shall shut you down because you are not a school. That's what I want to say.
Thank you, sir. So in terms of the priority areas that we inform our targets to ensure that we change the landscape of education in Liberia, these are the areas, and want to take them one by one. Monitoring, supervision, and evaluation. Currently, we have, if not, no effective system of supervision of schools and feedback to schools. And as you will see, the system of monitoring is not what we intend to do is to establish a result-oriented system of routine monitoring, supervision, and evaluation. And the details are highlighted. And you will see, one of the major issues affecting supervision of school has to do with the number of schools assigned to a district education officer. We just took a sample. Take Monserrado, for example, Pinsville. Pinsville district has 459 schools assigned to one district education officer. If even he were visiting one school a day within the year, he would not complete in Liberia. So we need to ensure that the Center of Excellence is operational. How we intend to do that is to professionalize teaching through licensing and standardized certification process, and strengthen the system of accreditation and monitoring of training institutes. The details are there. Again, this presentation will be sent to all of you because you've indicated your email. Curriculum and student learning assessment. Currently, the 2011 curriculum is primarily content-based, limited in learner-centered pedagogical approaches, and void of external learning assessment system for students prior to grade 9. We are only assessing our students at grade 9. And by the time they get at grade 9, they've escaped primary. So we have no time to be able to create a system of feedback and check to inform the way we teach in the classroom. As a result, the entire assessment system is relying heavily upon teachers in the classroom. What we intend to do is to reform the national curriculum to competency-based and adopt a learner-centered pedagogical approach. The details are there, and the targets are also there. One area that we haven't invested in over the last 15 plus years is secondary education. A lot of the intervention has gone towards primary and basic education, as well as early childhood education in some cases. So we want to look at secondary education. Secondary education is limited in STEM interventions and lack competencies for lifelong job readiness skills. Most of our students graduating from high school may not go to university, or the universities don't have the capacity to absorb them, and not everyone will go to university. Therefore, secondary schools should be taught of in ways that it not just provide the knowledge, but also skills relevant for the job market. And so, we want to be able to transform secondary education, and the way to do it, we want to improve the quality of secondary education to improve science laboratories, teachers training, and competency-based lifelong job readiness skills. I will give you an overview of it in a way that most of our students going to secondary school graduate with just a certificate in knowledge without skills. Therefore, we want to introduce skills at secondary level. TVET, STEM, and inclusive education. Absence of a national TVET qualification framework and competence-driven curriculum, and underdeveloped STEM and inclusive education program. You will see, you see the table right before you projects the areas that jobs are going to be in by 2030. You can see that in those areas like the oil palm, the rubber, the marine fisheries, they may account for over 620,000 jobs by 2030. But what are we offering now in our TVET institutions? Most of our students in the TVET are doing computer. You can see the highest rank, and then come to agriculture and other areas. What this indicates is that there is a mismatch between what is required and what is being offered. Therefore, we need to be able to change that. The way to do that is to develop a national multidisciplinary curriculum, develop a research-focused quality STEM program, and institutionalize inclusive education moving forward and scale up action over 10 years. The details are there. We move to the next section, school leadership and management. We spoke recently at a conference and we indicated that for over 100 plus years, we have never thought of institutionalizing school leadership as a program. Most of the people who are principals in schools were trained to be teachers and not principals. So they graduate from the TTIs and become principals of schools by experience of teaching, not by experience of leading. As a result, we have a problem. Absence of a formal training program for school leadership and management, and qualification of school principals inconsistent with the assignment. Let's look at a little survey of our public schools. As the minister indicated, about 57% of all of our principals are C certificate holders. And we don't just have primary schools within our system. They are basic, they are secondary. And in some of our secondary schools, our principals are C certificate holders. But the minimum requirement is a bachelor's degree. So there's a mismatch. How we intend to deal with that? Establish a formal program for school development of school leadership and management. And that is currently on the way thanks to the Global Partnership for Education, who's helping us to put that structure in place. And it has to be dealt with. But leave that. Estimated 14% of all rural girls in rural communities complete primary education. It means all of our girls that are entering grade 1 in the rural areas are not even passing from grade 6. Grade 6 becomes their stopping point, and only 14% of them ever transition. This is scary. How we intend to deal with that? Strengthen strategy for girls' transition and retention, enforce code of conduct related to sexual and gender-based violence in schools, and re-examine factors affecting increased out-of-school numbers and remedy as appropriate. School health and nutrition. Insufficient standard wash facilities and limited school feeding and nutrition program. Nearly 50% of schools are without reliable water source and equivalent percentage without standard latrines. About 48% are without hand washing facilities. Again, we are reminded about Ebola. But thanks to UNICEF, who's also supporting the ministry in that area and providing a lot of wash facilities. So the way going forward is to provide standard wash facilities in all schools, increase school feeding and nutrition where possible. Community engagement and national service. Absence of a national service program and inadequate community engagement for school development. The way to address it, operationalize the national service program that is within the education law and design a strategic plan for community engagement going forward. The most important part, we've said a lot of exciting things. How do we intend to finance it? And the minister will speak on that.
Before we go to the financing part, I'd like to go back to the ECE. Many parents in the rural areas take their children to the farm, especially in girls' school. Just yesterday, we are also doing our inspection got to find out. But somebody else just told me yesterday they have been at school, I don't want to call it for the county, because this is what across all the other counties. The kids were in school by 9 o'clock, and the mother came and grabbed their 2 children and said, "We went to the farm, I can't leave my children here." Now, who can help us with this? The same parents want to see us drive a car to the village. How do we get a car except stealing? So they have to make sure that they have to be punished. The chiefs, the elders, the commissioners, the superintendents. All of us have to get it. No genius is going to resolve this matter. If we do not do it collectively, just how we made it, and just how we believe it, we have to do it together. And when we do it together, believe me, it will change.
You said we are still below the 25% allotment for.
We are around 13%, and it's not acceptable because we have gone 15 years after the silver crisis, and 15 years is enough of time for us to have the right. So for us to still be having an excuse of we are just out of silver, what is unacceptable, and we need to reach that benchmark of 25% of our national budget towards education.
You said lack of political will, and you will just need political will to reach that 25%.
We need it, and I think as for me, I got it, but you know, the national legislature is a place of consensus building. So once we have that consensus, we will be able to derive those solutions and be able to reach that target.
You said 65% they are educated and not teachers. What do you mean?
They are not teachers, they are educated people. They are not teachers. Having the content knowledge in biology does not make you a biology teacher. So it is like giving your wife to a mechanic to deliver the wife. So you are going to have the undesirable result of either your death, your wife dying, or your child dying. So education must be treated this way. See, as much as you are going to give your wife to a doctor for delivery, why don't you give your child to a teacher for instruction? This is the formula that I'm recommending.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
I think you heard the President's message. It was clear that Nigeria do care about the education system, and that he, as President of the Republic of Nigeria, will do everything in his power to address the education system.
As a foreign minister, what support do you think will afford this elaborate education system better?
Well, as a foreign minister, my job is to promote what the president's instructions are, and whatever the president's instructions that will be given to me will be executed to the letter.
More foreign scholarships?
More foreign scholarships. If the president mandates me to go and find it, I will go and find it.
Thank you.
On this summit, the educational summit, and it's held in Margibi County, to be precise, district number 3. It is in the right direction because, like we all know, education is the only passport to success, and with the information that we have gathered from the past government, our educational system is a mess. This summit, I believe, is in the right trajectory because it intends to find remedy to the lot of problems that we have been faced with in our educational sector.
Can it be a turning point for the sector?
Definitely, it will be a turning point because today we can be very sure that bringing stakeholders together from diverse background and from all walks of life of our educational sector, bringing them together to find a way in which the educational sector can move forward that will improve the life of our citizens, we believe is in the right direction.
Honorable, in time past, there has been these kind of conferences in our country, but the issue of implementation has become a problem. Do you foresee this happening at this time?
In terms of implementation, the current minister that we have, Dr. Soni, I believe in his capability, and I believe this summit is not just or won't just be one of those summits that have been held before. I can assure you that this time around, with this summit, there will be a fruitful result that the citizens of our country will benefit. Not only us, even the next generation after us will still benefit.
Okay, finally, if I take view of you, you have been making some gains in your district. The issue of intervening in some of those bad labor practices and some of those illegal issues. Tell me basically what has been some of your intervention in your district, sir?
Yeah, in my district, in terms of the bad labor practices, I've intervened in a lot of cases. Today we can boast that the workers of the Harvest Supermarket in District Number 2 have now received a letter of employment through our intervention. And today we can also boast of the Channel Harbor and Channel Power workers who were being paid below the minimum wage bill of the Decent Wear Act. That says $5.50, they were being paid $4 and some $3.50, but today we can boast that through our intervention they are being paid for even overtime and lunch. And I can say, as we speak now, their full amount or the full payment in terms of $5.50 as per our in the Decent Wear bill has been paid to them fully. And even as we speak, the newest, a business entity that provides catering services for the catering. Today, through our intervention, 4 of their staff that were given letter of employment, but because of the Ebola outbreak, there was a temporary closure of that entity. Upon the return of the entity,
they were given priorities.
Though they were not given priority, the institution went on operating, but when the issue was brought to our attention, was able to intervene, and we asked the company to take one of our 2 recommendations, either to have those people who were left out to be considered in their employment, or they should be paid out. And as we speak today, the company have considered either they will be paying them or they will be re-employing them. And there are a lot more that we have done in a very short period that have brought, and moreover, the Farmington issue, the very popular Farmington issue, which today we can say due to the intervention of the House of Representatives through my advocacy and letter preferred to the plenary. The workers of the Farmington Hotel can boast today of having an association. They can also boast of having a transport service provided for them, especially for those who work at night.
Are they not be respected as workers? Are they being dignified now?
For the fact that there is an association established so that the concern or aggrieved workers can be heard by management, we believe they are being respected. And that wasn't in the case. Even just yesterday, I spoke to one of the employees, and he said this time their food that used to be cooked in a separate kitchen is no longer being cooked in a separate kitchen, but rather it's being cooked now in the kitchen of the restaurant and then taken to their canteen. So we believe that that is in the right direction.
Honorable, it's a pleasure having you, sir.
Thank you.